Welcome back, everybody. This is 6.6C, Graphing Systems of Inequalities Extra Practice. For the do now, they want you to match the inequality to the given graph on the right-hand side. So you need to find your slope, you need to find your y-intercept, and you need to analyze the line type and its shading. So, first thing, we notice that this blue line crosses the y-axis at positive 4. So you know the y-intercept or your b value is going to be plus 4. And if you look, each of these choices have a plus 4, so that doesn't really help us right now. You have to find another point on this line to determine the slope. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, and over 1, and I see another point. That's your slope, negative 3 over 1x. So you can cross out choice A and choice D because they both have positive 3's. No good. Now, I see a solid line and shading below. Solid line shading below means less than or equal to. So y must be less than or equal to negative 3x plus 4, choice B. For number 2, I see a vertical line that goes straight up and down through the x-axis at negative 3. That means there's going to be no y in this equation, just an x. Cross out A, cross out B. Okay, this is a dashed line, and we're shading above or values greater than negative 3. So this must mean x is greater than negative 3, choice C. For number 1, we are going to do the same thing. We have y is less than 8. So I'm looking for a horizontal line running left and right through the value of 8. And I see that in the very first graph, right there. And the shading for the red is below. And again, we have x is greater than negative 3. Well, negative 3 is right here, and they're shading to the right, just like in the warm-up. So, your first system of inequalities is A. Looking at the next one, you're looking for y is less than 5. Well, I see the value of 5 with a line going through it right there in option C, and the shading is below. And let's see if its system matches. Y is greater than or equal to negative 7. Well, I see a solid line going through. Yep, negative 7. There it is. Choice C. Which means by process of elimination, this must be B. But we'll just double check it anyway. We have y is greater than or equal to negative 3. And there it is. Negative 3 shaded above, solid line. And x is greater than 5. Well, here's x is 5. There's a dashed line going through it vertically and shading to the right. So that matches up with option B. Determine the solution. Okay. Which points are solutions to the system graphed to the right? So remember, your solution set is where the two shaded regions overlap each other on the graph. And we will highlight that in yellow. So where the red shading and the blue shading overlap is this area right in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to appoint each of these points a color, and we will plot them on the graph. Okay, so A is positive 4, 4. Right 4, up 4. That only falls in the blue shaded region. No good. 4, negative 4 is right 4 and then down 4. Well, that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to put a check next to B, and we're going to see if there's any others. Negative 4, negative 4. Left 4, down 4. No good. And D, negative 4, positive 4. Left 4 from the origin, up 4. No good. All right, there it is, choice B. So your answer is 4, -4. Which points are solutions to the system for the second question? Well, they were nice enough to highlight it in this blue region for us, and we're going to do the same thing. And I can't see my D value. There we go. I'm just going to slide it up a bit for a second. Get rid of this because it doesn't line up. Okay, so we have A, which is -2, -3. Left 2, down 3. And A does not fall in that shaded region. We have B, -1, +1. Left 1, up 1. There you go, falls right in. C, 2, 1. Right 2, up 1. And that is not a solution. And -4, 0 for D. Let's see. Left 4, we're not going up or down at all. Look at that. You have a second solution. So your two solutions that you can write on your answer line are -2, -3. Oh, sorry. -1, 1. And -4, 0. Write the system of the linear inequalities graph below. So we're given the graph. We need to write the system of inequalities. Instead of matching it like we did in the warm-up, now we're just going to write them out. I see a vertical or two vertical lines. Remember, they're cutting through the x-axis. So both of these inequalities are going to start with x. The first one right here is a dashed line going through -5. It is dashed and it is shaded to the right, which is greater than. So x is greater than -5. For your second inequality, it's going to be x. It's a vertical line going through +2. But this time it's solid and shaded to the left. Solid means there's going to be a line underneath our inequality symbol. Shaded to the left means the values that are smaller than 2, so x is less than or equal to 2. Okay. And we're going to take a look. We have our two inequalities here, and these actually have slopes and intercepts, so they are going to start with y. Now we need to determine the slope and the y-intercept. The y-intercept is a +2, we know that, so put a +2 at the end. The rise over the run from one point to the next is down 1 over 2, so -1 over 2x. And this is a solid line shaded below, so less than or equal to. Y is less than or equal to -1/2 x plus 2. For the blue inequality, again, it's going to be a y value. The intercept is at -5. And the slope of the rise over the run is up 1 over 2. We have a dashed line shaded above, greater than. Y is greater than 1/2 x minus 5. All right, for the next two, number 4 and number 5, we're just going to finish up with some reinforcement on graphing systems of inequalities. So this is exactly what we've been doing the last couple lessons. Do one in green and one in blue. So y is less than 1/2 x plus 2. Remember, you have your m and your b values. B value, +2. My slope is up 1, right 2 every time. Follow that pattern. Then continue down and to the left. Less than means a dashed line. There's your dashed line. And less than means shading below. Good. Okay, for your blue inequality, y is less than negative 1 over 1x minus 1. Your b value is negative 1, and your slope tells me to go down 1, right 1. Less than, again, this is going to be a dashed line. And the shading is going to be below. So below your blue line. And your solution set is right in here. Last one. Blue, red. Okay. Again, you have your M and your B values. This time you're starting at negative 2. And your slope is negative 1 over 1. Down 1, right 1. Less than symbol means a dashed line. And less than also means we will shade below. Okay. Your red inequality of an M and a B. B value tells you to start at positive 1. And your slope is really negative 4 over 1. So down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. So you should only fit 3 points here. Greater than or equal to means a solid line. Make sure you carry that line all the way through the graph, and greater than means you are going to shade above. This time, our solution set is very, very small. It's this little section right in here. Okay, write the system of 4 linear inequalities as graphed below. So we have 4 different lines here. We have 2 blue lines, 1 solid, 1 dashed, 1 green line, and 1 red line. So let's see. The first thing I notice is we have 2 lines that are straight up and down, right here and right here. So those are going to begin with the variable x. Those vertical lines do not have y's in their inequalities. Now the blue line is going through x and negative 6. You could see it down here at the bottom. It's going through negative 6. The shading is the black, so it's shaded to the right of negative 6 with a solid line, which means greater than or equal to. The green vertical line is going through a positive 2. And that's a solid line, but it's shading to the left, which means values smaller than negative 2. So this is going to be x is less than or equal to. Now the next 2 are the more difficult ones. You have a blue dashed line. So you know that's going to start with a y, this line right here. It crosses the y-axis at positive 5. So you know there's going to be a plus 5 at the back end of this. The rise over the run, if you find another point, which it looks like this one right here, is up 2, right 2. So 2 over 2x. And this line is dashed, and the black shading indicates it's shading below that line. Less than. Y is less than 2 over 2x plus 5. The last one is your red inequality. Crosses the y-axis at -5. The rise over the run, given another point here, is up 2 over 2. But this time we have a solid line, and the black shading indicates above the red, so greater than or equal to. Okay, I'm sure this is a little difficult for the first go-around with writing inequalities based on the graphs, but we'll continue to practice it. All right, thanks for watching.